For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ewan. I'm one of the leaders here at Trinity. And at this stage in our gathering, we like from time to time to hear from members of our church family and hear about the work that God has done and is doing in their lives. This morning, I've got the pleasure of interviewing Hannah, who's going to tell us a bit about her journey to Christian faith and how God's been at work in her life. So, morning, Hannah.
Morning.
Thanks for coming to speak to us this morning. Could we start just by asking about what your experience of the Christian faith was growing up?
Yeah, so growing up, I wasn't really part of a typical Christian family. My mum is a Christian, and my dad is not a Christian. So I did grow up going to church, and I learned about the gospel in youth groups, but it wasn't part of my day-to-day life. I didn't really pray or read the Bible on my own at all. So yeah.
Yeah. And what was it then that caused you to consider the Christian faith personally?
So, like many people, my teenage years was exceptionally difficult. In year 9, I was moved to a new school, and it was a private school and quite high-pressured environment. And I basically was struggling a lot with anxiety and bullying. And at home, life wasn't perfect. My parents were both working a lot, and my brother was we just weren't that close. And it got worse when I got into year 10. In about a space of a week, my mum and grandma got diagnosed with breast cancer, and just everything in my life completely fell out of control. I started to self-harm. I quietly developed an eating disorder, and by the time I ended year 10, I ended up in hospital with anorexia. I just felt so lost and done with life. Luckily, at the church, I had a youth worker who came to visit me in hospital and gave me a book by Timothy Keller called My Rock, My Refuge, which is daily devotions based on the Psalms. And I think when I was reading that, I kind of saw people crying out to the Lord and depending on them through their suffering. And it was the first time that I really realized that I wasn't alone, that I could call out to God. And not only I could cry and call out to him, but he was there to listen to me. So yeah.
So what was it that you came to understand then about the gospel at that point?
I think it was at that point I really understood about God's grace and how in my life I felt like I was never good enough, and the beauty about the gospel was I didn't have to be good enough, that I was perfect as I was and made by an incredible God, and that's where I could put my worth, that it wasn't in myself anymore, and that just managed to free me from so much shame and self-hatred, was the fact that God loved me so much to send Jesus to die on that cross and resurrect to take my sins from me.
So what's life for you now then as a Christian? How have things changed?
Life has definitely not magically gotten better or been perfect. Recovery's hard, and there's been plenty of hardships through my life since then. But yeah, God's love and what God has done for me now has helped me so much. Through everything I go through, I know I'm not alone. And there's a verse in Ecclesiastes, it's Ecclesiastes 3 verse 11, which it says, he makes everything beautiful in its time. And I can really see how God has used my life and have been working in me, and how through my suffering and what I've been through, it's helped me grow in faith and gain a faith. It's brought my whole family closer together, and it's just, helped me really connect with other people that I definitely wouldn't have been able to do before. So I'm just now so grateful and happy for life. And I feel so blessed with amazing friends and family and church, and just knowing that I'm no longer walking alone through anything. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks, Hannah, for sharing. Let me pray for you now. Father, thank you so much for Hannah. Thank you for the work that you have done in her and are doing through her. We thank you for the ways that she can look back in her life and see your hand at work, and for the ways that she can see you at work in her now. We thank you so much that we can trust in you, even in times of suffering, even in our struggles, and know that you love us and that you care for us and that you have a good and perfect plan for us. Help us to live lives dependent on you. Amen.